Welcome to another video. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We kind of touched on it in the last video, but what we're going to do is go through some strategies to improve your Go Battle League and indeed just your general PvP play. We're going to range from beginner tactics here, and we're going to have some more advanced plays. We'll sort of increase as we go through. So we're going to start with typings, which is a very basic thing. Now, most people have some idea of typings. Here we have a full list. Down the middle is the type that you're using, and then on the left we've got what they're resistant to and what hurts them, and then what they've got in terms of what they're super effective against on the other side there. So a lot of people know the basic typings. So what you should be focusing on is those types that perhaps you don't know. Maybe you don't know that bugs resist fighting moves. Maybe you don't know that ground type moves are super effective against poison types. Maybe you're unaware that water types resist steel type moves. And then of course remembering the double super effective moves. And I'd just like to add, when you go through and learn all this stuff, it's just as important to remember what your Pokemon is resistant to as it is what its moves are super effective against. So yeah, keep that in mind. The next thing is another basic one, and it's learn from the pros. Now, you can get on YouTube, you can get on Twitch. There's plenty of great YouTubers out there that put out content. These guys are really good at what they do. They have a great understanding of it, and in their battles you'll see, and they'll explain what teams work well, you know, what moves working and how teams work. So my recommendations would be King IV, Zionic, FP Sticks, Tommy Love TV is really good. There's a whole heap there. You can see them in the picture there as I'm cycling through them all. So yeah, get on YouTube and watch some videos. Now the next one is understanding IVs. IVs can confuse people. But basically, if a Pokemon maxes out below the CP limit for the league, you're going to be looking at a more defense and HP weighted Pokemon, if you can, and less in attack. Now, people often get confused, well, why would you want that? But generally speaking, if having a high attack is the attack is more weighted in terms of the Pokemon reaching its CP, so you can get a lot more defense and HP points in there, and without going over the CP limit. So that's generally how that works. But I'd also like to point out that that's not always ideal. There's certain matchups that you'll lose by having a low attack, because you won't kill the Pokemon before it can get to its next move. So it's always important to keep IVs in mind, but also have take them with a grain of salt. A lot of the times you might lose CMP or charge move priority, as in the other Pokemon will get their charge move away first, particularly in the mirror if you've got low attack. So there's pluses and minuses to all sides of it, so it is worth doing a bit of research on that before you power up your Pokemon. But I'd also like to point out, IVs are important, but being a good Pokemoner, having good tactics and good play is far more important than having the IVs on your Pokemon be absolutely perfect. So take all that with a grain of salt. Okay, next we're going to look at PVPoke. Now, if you haven't heard of PVPoke, you need to get on. The website address is up the top there. Now, PVPoke is an all-inclusive guide. It has a lot of things on here, but it's everything PvP. Now, the first thing we've looked at is battles. So you can cycle through, as you can see there, cycle through all the leagues. You type in the Pokemon that you want to be using. You can type in the Pokemon you want to see how it goes against. As you can see there, you can click on the IVs and change all the IVs to exactly what you've got, and you can change the movesets to exactly what you want to be using, and you can, in the simulation, you can change the number of shields that your opponent's using, and then you click battle and away you go, and it tells you how easily you win, how much HP you have left, everything that you need to know. Now we're going into rankings here. Now in rankings you can go through all the different competitions, Love Cup, whatever, and what this site does is it goes through every single possible Pokemon, all the matchups, and it decides which Pokemon are most effective in those leagues, and it'll give you all the stats on which ones it beats and which ones it doesn't. Now the other thing that we can do is go into the team builder option, which we're in here. You can build teams of up to 6, and then you can have them go against you know, it could be the meta for Great League, Ultra League, or you can even, as you can see what we've done there, you can input specific Pokemon you want to see how it goes against. And it will give you, you know, an A to F coverage guide on, in terms of how effective it is, bulkiness and all that sort of thing. And as you can see, there even recommends potential alternatives that might be better. So if you're not using PvPoke to check things out, to check matchups, you're crazy. It's even got a training option where you can go through and actually play a sort of a simple dumbed down version with your team against other teams. You can set it up to sort of play like a Sylph simulation, or it can just be a one-on-one matchup and you can play it and the computer plays against you in a basic PvP way. So you can practice games without losing elo, you can test out new teams without having to go on and lose a whole heap of games. So yeah, get on PvPoke, have a bit of a click around. I must admit, when I first went on there, it kind of looked a bit clunky and a bit simple to me, but it's a great website and you're not going to get too far in PvP without checking it out. So get on there and have a bit of a look around. Alright, now let's look at energy management. Now we've got an example here for you. This was from our recent Draft League competition. Now basically energy management is about not necessarily throwing charge moves straight away so you can get a bit of extra energy. And this is a great example here. So we've got a Regirock against Togekiss. It's a pretty decent matchup. And what Cactus is doing in this game is he's actually getting extra energy to go into the next matchup, because in the next matchup he's going to be facing Empoleon. Now the waterfall damage from Empoleon is far worse, as you can see here. It's far worse than the charm damage. So by charging up some extra energy before he comes into this matchup, he's able to get the move away before the Empoleon KOs him. So yeah, it's a really important thing to consider. And as you can see, those waterfalls are doing far more damage than the charm did. And he just gets to this Stone Edge in time. Had he not charged up any extra energy, there's no doubt that the Regirock would have died prior to getting that move away on the Empoleon. And the Empoleon surviving and farming down was pretty much the difference between winning and losing that game. Okay, let's go into sack swapping next. So sack swapping, as you're probably aware, is short for sacrificial swapping. We've got an example here from the Draft League. Basically what happens here is a Togekiss would take some seriously heavy neutral damage against a Mewtwo. So by counting the Psycho Cuts here and assuming you'll throw straight away, we get the move onto the Melmetal, which resists the move. So it's a great way of wasting energy, particularly on a lost lead, but it can also be good in end game. If you've got a Pokemon there with a little bit of energy left, you can actually use that to take a move, so another Pokemon can survive for longer and perhaps get to a move and finish the game. So sacrificial swapping is something you should look at, you should practice with and consider in different aspects of the game. Alright, so now we're going to look at a more advanced mechanic called Fast Move Denial. Now there's a great video out on YouTube by a dude called Wallower, and you should definitely watch that. It goes through and explains the whole thing. But basically there's a glitch in the game where moves queue up, and you can actually manipulate the order in which they queue up. And you can actually, using his techniques, stop extra fast moves going through when you throw your charge moves, and sometimes even sneak them in. So check that out. It's definitely an advanced tactic, that one. Now, in summary, we've gone through a few of the things that you can try. Now, there's things for everyone there, and they're just some of the things that you can be trying to improve your game. But integrating all those things is super important to improving your game. And look, we'll come out with some more videos in future with regards to all these hints and tips. But in summary, a great starting point is learning all your typings, and make sure you're getting on PvPoke and checking things out on there. It tells you optimal move sets, tells you who beats who, and if you're doing that sort of stuff, that's the mainstay of winning games. So thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you next time with some more hints.